Colorado versus Texas Tech. Big time matchup. Big time matchup. Let's go ahead and preview this. Just kind of discuss it and break it down. What does Colorado got to do to shut down Texas Tech down in Lubbock? Go ahead.
Look, Tech is tough. They went to undefeated Iowa State and won. That's not an easy place to win. And I know that Iowa State almost dropped the game before, too, against UCF, so it was just catching up with them like we thought it would. Right. They're not great at anything, but they're good at almost everything. But rushing the passer, they're pretty terrible at that. But they create pressure, and they create turnovers, and they're good inside the 20s. Like, I feel like a lot of their defensive problems are outside the 20s, like in the middle of the field. But once they get inside the 20, 25 in the red zone, they shore up pretty hard and make you kick field goals. They've had games where they've given up 44. They've had games where they've given up 60. They give up 60 to Baylor, but then they have games where they go to Ames and hold undefeated Iowa State to 22 points. So if I'm Texas Tech, I'm not worried about the past. I'm trying to, past failures, I'm trying to learn from them. I know that the coaches, Coach Prime, and all the coaches, especially the head coach down at Texas Tech, are really, really tight. McGuire's his name, if I remember correctly. And
sorry, go ahead. Keep going.
No, you were saying?
Yeah, I was going to say, speaking of Jerome McGuire, I just wanted to show some of his comments kind of just on facing Colorado, talking about he actually coached.
He knows Shedeur so well and recruited him, and there's tons of mutual respect between coaches and men and players here in this game, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, take a listen to some of his comments on facing Colorado and Coach Prime here.
I'm excited to see a good friend. Dion and I have a lot of connections. Like I've told y'all before, I got to coach his oldest son, Bucky. Dion Jr., he runs all his social media and does a lot of different things for that university. Man, he was a special football player, just like his other two sons. And he has done a phenomenal job this year. There's a lot of people that question if he could get that program turned around, and he has. They're bowl eligible. They're 4-1 in conference, and we're sitting here 4-2, so it's a huge game. I believe we're facing two of the best college football players in the country. One is probably the leader in Heisman right now, Travis Hunter. I mean, he's a generational player. This guy's going to take over 100 snaps on Saturday and play at an elite level. I mean, as good as anybody in the country, and so he deserves to be in the mix and probably the leader. And then, in my opinion, I think that Shedeur Sanders is the best quarterback in college football. If I was an NFL GM and I had a pick where I needed a quarterback, he'd be the first quarterback taken in this year's draft. He should be, and so I have a lot of respect for him. I still remember both his sons. We're going to play on Saturday, running around. We both coached in the Under Armour game together multiple times, and Garrett and his sons running around throwing the ball whenever they were younger. It's really cool to see how they've grown up, and going back, I did have a note talking about Dion. The one thing that I was always so impressed with Dion is what kind of dad he is and what kind of dad he was. Me being a high school coach, I dealt with a lot of helicopter parents, and he is the farthest thing.
Basically says the farthest thing from a helicopter parent. But yeah, Big Matt, what are your thoughts on Coach McGuire's comments?
You can tell there's respect between coaches and men. And that's a good thing. I think that it's going to be a hard-fought football game. Texas Tech is going to take this seriously. It's just a matter of can they stop the tide. You know what I'm saying? Can they stop the flow that's going on right now in Boulder offensively? I don't think they can, but they're going to play hard. I mean, I saw now where last week we were 4.5-point dogs. Now we're 3.5-point favorites. Yeah. So, that line moves 7 points in a week. That's pretty crazy. Look, dude, I think that – all right, I'm getting rid of this fucking guy. This guy's annoying the shit out of me. I think that if Colorado goes down to Lubbock and takes it seriously, they're playing a day game, which means they don't have to sit in the hotel all day and worry about, what's going on in the rest of the country. You can just go play. Mm-hmm. If they go down and they take things as seriously as they should, CU should win by 2 touchdowns. They're better. But the minute that you give this team an inch, they're going to take a mile, bro. If you let them hang around, you go down and you're sloppy with, it's been back-to-back games where we've seen sloppy center work out of Zelinkas, and even in the last game, he had a down by the north end zone. He had a snap that went into Shedeur's stomach he wasn't expecting. and they had to eat the play. So
Yeah.
that's twice. That's 2 times in 2 weeks. So that can't happen. If you go out and you give these Texas Tech Red Raiders any excuse to hang around, they're going to do it. So it's a hang-around football team, and they're building something in Lubbock. They're unveiling new uniforms. The Patrick Mahomes Silvers are coming out this weekend for the first time. So they know what they're doing. They know who's coming to town. They know that the Super Bowl is coming to Lubbock this weekend. Every recruit that they want to impress will be there, because if they pull the upset and they win this game, they're storming the field and shit. So, CU's walking in ranked 20th in the playoff rankings, and literally the entire world in front of them, and Texas Tech can play spoiler. So, being in this position as a player and as a coach is advantageous, because you have nothing to lose. Everybody's expecting Tech to lose. And as CU, you've got to go in and keep the road dominance going. They've been really good on the road, bro. So you got to make sure that continues. This is a business trip, and Coach Prime's treating it as such. If you listen to anything he said, all the stuff throughout the week, we weren't on yesterday, but there was stuff posted yesterday about them getting back to work. You talked, obviously, having Coach Lodehold on Monday. That's all he talked about was business trip and going down and taking care of the things that they can take care of. So, man, I think that this is an opportunity for CU to prove to all of us that they're as serious as we think they are. Because you and I, and like the community around here, people are warming up to it, and but there's still some hesitance out there for people to dive head first. And I think that they're going to go down and put on a show, because I think Hunter and Shador are on a mission to prove that they're both worthy of the Heisman. One of them's going to win it. His name is Travis Hunter. We've been talking about this forever. But
yeah, I agree.
I'm saying there's opportunity in front of CU. This is the perfect game, with 3 winnable games with 3 teams that are going through turmoil right behind you. Utah's going through quarterback turmoil. They've lost their OC. They're in a rebuilding year, the first year in the Big 12. Everybody thought they'd be fantastic. They're not very good. They still want to make a bowl game, though. They've got BYU this week and CU next week. That's their 2 biggest rivals back to back. So, they're gonna play hard and see if they can go swing an upset. But they're beatable. They're not a very good football team this year. Kansas has played hard. They lost by 2 to Kansas State. But then they get blown out by other teams. So they're having a down year, but they're far from bad. And Jaden Daniels is a G, and he can really play. That's on a neutral site in Arrowhead. They're going to be giving you your best swing, but I think that's a very winnable game. Oklahoma State's bad this year. They don't have a quarterback. Again, there's turmoil in Stillwater because they were supposed to win the conference, and they're at the bottom of it. So, when Ollie Gordon doesn't have anybody that can throw the ball in front of him, people can just stack the box on him and they can't do shit. So you figure if you can get through 6-3, 4-2 in conference, Texas Tech, that's also fighting for everything. They're not out of the conference race. But the way Kansas State and Iowa State just lost, say BYU loses and Iowa State loses again, and they beat CU, they're right in the thick of things to go to the Big 12 title game. So this is a massive game for them, but it is a monumental, historical game for CU. It's a big game in Lubbock. From Colorado's perspective, this is the biggest road game that I can remember, because not only because it's the next one, but because of the test. Lubbock is going to they're going to be slinging tortillas around that sumbitch. It is going to be loud. I played there before. We lost 26-21. There's a lot of distractions. God damn, Stanley.
Woo! Stanley Harris.
Happy birthday to me. Stanley, appreciate you.
We appreciate you, Stanley Harris, in the house.
Stanley's the man. The rest of y'all need to pick your shit up. But Stanley's got 0 to 60 bucks brought to you by Stanley Harris. I'm just saying, the opportunity in front of CU is monumental. And go win this game and jump to 15th in the rankings, and then all of a sudden you beat Utah and you're one of the first 2 out or in, and then shit starts happening real fast, dog. So this is a fork in the lane game, and I at the beginning of the year, I didn't think that they could go to Tech and win. So I picked them to lose this game at the beginning of the season. Now, I thought that they would go 8-4, but now they got the chance to go 10-2, and I think that this is totally winnable, and they should. So, look, CU needs to focus on what they do and then go out and play hard. And give Shedeur time, because if you go down to Lubbock and you give up 5 sacks to a team that only has 9 sacks on the season, that's not good. Yeah, they can't rush the passer. But what happened last week, Iowa State tried to take advantage of that. They couldn't. Texas Tech secondary ate up that quarterback.
Right.
So, I don't know, maybe run the ball more. I'm confident that the game plan will suit the atmosphere and the environment. So, we'll see what they trot out there. But after talking to Lone Holt and seeing the offensive line's progression, I wouldn't doubt if Augusta gets another 20 carries and they run the ball another 35, 40 times. Just because it makes Shedeur unguardable. It makes your receivers unguardable. You have to single cover Travis Hunter, who's the best player in the world, and that's not going to work. Exactly. And remember, Wester just got number 1, and he's going to want to show off that motherfucker. Wherever number 1 is, you better double cover that sumbitch, because he's going to go off. Mark my words, Wester's going off in this game.
I agree. And here's where I think, looking at this Texas Tech matchup, Colorado has a significant advantage defensively. Texas Tech gave up 51 points to Abilene Christian. And they also gave up 59 to Baylor.
But then they also went to Ames last week and held 11th ranked undefeated Kansas State to 22 points and all.
True. It's a week by week thing.
Is that Iowa State playing shitty? Is that Iowa State playing shitty? Or is that Texas Tech playing out of their minds? Probably both.
A little bit of both. I can agree with that. But I'm like, look, it's up to Livingston. Second half adjustments. We say it every week. But it's going to be really interesting, because I believe this is still going to be a shootout. Obviously, Texas Tech's really strong on offense. Not so strong defensively. Obviously, I think LaJohntay Wester, Shedeur, and Travis. Shedeur's going to be able to get his weapons.
I think Shedeur's going to go for over 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. Even if we do run the ball 25, 30 times, I still think you're going to possess the ball for so long, and he'll have a ton of underneath throws to open up the game and soften up the coverage. And then when they change the coverage to try and seal up the underneath throws, because underneath throws lead to yak, yards after catch. We're really good at yak. Like, we get a lot of yak after they catch the ball. Yes. So when they kind of suck up and they start playing those underneath throws and the crossing routes trying to stop the yak, well, then you've got shit over the top. So I personally think that even if they do come out and try and establish the run, remember last week they started with 4 straight running plays and had 35 carries in the game, and Shedeur still went off. So I think this week is like a showcase game a little bit for Shedeur and Travis. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they get up and Coach Prime keeps throwing. Like, once you've established the advantage, not just talked about it. Like, we're talking about the advantage. I'm talking about establishing the advantage. So when you go down there and you establish the advantage on Texas Tech, then you can just fucking hammer them, because they can't stop it. And then they're on their heels, and then everything is open. So I wouldn't be surprised if Shedeur goes for over 404 tutties, and 2 of them are to Travis. And I wouldn't be surprised if he has a pick 6 or some crazy shit on defense too.
Yeah. Could this be one of those games kind of where we're talking about those who challenge whether Colorado can run the ball, and your response was always, well, you can always run for 100 yards and Shedeur can still throw for 400. Do you think this is going to be one of those games?
I do. Yeah, I really do. I think Texas Tech plays hard. Texas Tech isn't going to roll over. They're coming off a big win. This is their Super Bowl. Don't get it twisted. They got new jerseys coming out and shit. But new jerseys aren't going to cover up what's in the secondary. Like, they're advantageous because maybe Iowa State played down, but what did Baylor play up when they beat them 62-30 or whatever? So there's holes, but to act like they haven't tried to fix those problems also. What happened a month ago, I don't give a shit. I think if we play Nebraska now, we beat them by 2 touchdowns.
True.
But a month and a half ago, they beat the fuck out of us in Lincoln. So
Yeah.
It's you have to take everything we're looking at historically with a grain of salt here. And we just need to really focus on what happened last week. We'll put it like this. If we prepare for last week's Texas Tech team the way we should, if we prepare for them like King Kong and they come out like Curious George, then we will fuck them up. But if they come out like King Kong and we are expecting Curious George, we're going to get caught. That's all I'm saying. So let's not look at the past threats. I'm looking at what happened last week, because that's the opportunity to really get your team laser focused and say, you better play your best. Look what they did to undefeated Iowa State last week on the road. Yeah. You better be ready when you go to Lubbock, because this is the team you're getting, not the other team that the fans are looking at going, we're going to throw for 700 yards like it's a fucking video game. So look, it comes down to trusting your game plan, and then once you've established advantage, taking advantage of it big time.
Yeah, no doubt. This is a huge test for Colorado. I mean, Lubbock's going to be crazy. It's like Shedeur said in the offseason, Colorado's everybody's Super Bowl. He got a lot of flack for that. And every week, what happens when they go on the road or any game? It's a Super Bowl. I mean, the other team takes it.
I love being right. It's awesome.
About that. Yeah, exactly. One thing I wanted to move on and talk about, these college football playoff rankings. Colorado's ranked 20th. Right behind K-State. And then there's another clip I wanted to show of Coach Prime talking about Colorado's just performance and practice and saying they're a playoff team. Take a listen here.
What I'm seeing right now is a playoff team. What I'm seeing right now is hard work, is dedication, determination. What I'm seeing right now is probably about 2 guys on each side of this ball that's not going all out. And y'all need to check it. It's 9 that's got it. It's 9 that's going to get it. It's 9 that's preparing to win. Let's check that too. Great job thus far. Let's see if we can top that in the second half of practice, all right? Yes, sir. Break it down on 6-6.
Matt, your thoughts?
Leader, bro, it's manifestation. It's talking it into existence. Mm-hmm. You know, like in 01 when we were chasing the Big 12 title, shit, in 02 and 04 when we lost in the Big 12 title games, Coach Barnett would always be manifesting this shit. You will win this weekend. You're going to beat the shit out of these people. Like, it's like the Lou Holtz thing. It's like Monday and Tuesday, there's no way we could win. Doesn't matter how good we practiced. Wednesday, Thursday, there's no way we could lose. And Friday, we already won. And Saturday, we just played. Mm-hmm. So, you know, like it's the constant buildup. It's the constant, constructive criticism as a coach and making sure everybody, there's 9 guys hustling. There's 2 guys loafing. If you guys can't tell the 2 that are loafing, then I guess all of you are loafing. Figure out the 2 that are loafing and get to fucking work. So manifestation of all this, visualizing success, being in a position where you can, it's rare, but it works. I know it does. I do it all the time. Rather than freaking out about what could happen in a negative, try and funnel your shit into what's going to happen and make it positive. And that's what they've done there since they took over 1-11. That's for goddamn sure. Yeah. So, why would if I was Coach Prime, I wouldn't be changing anything. I'd be doubling down on everything that already worked. This is the thing is, this is like the 4th year of a rebuild in the middle of year 2. It worked, and it's worked accelerated like he said it would. He said we're going to do this. He said it would happen fast, and it happened pretty fucking fast. I know last year was a test to see who would turn on him. Last year was like a test to see who's going to turn, who's really got our back, who's just out there trying to do this for clicks, who's just out there that doesn't really watch tape and talk shit, because they're still out there. There's a ton of people who still want to see you to fail. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's at this point, bro, it's if you can't respect what he's done up there and how they do it, I question if you're really a college football fan, bro, because this is what college football is all about.
Yeah, exactly. Manifestation. You talked about visualizing that. I mean, at 1-11, they had to do that. You make a very good point there. And I think it's a very important lesson to those listening. Absolutely.